Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to the channel, or welcome back to the channel. We are the Mile High Property Brothers. Today, diving right into it, we will be covering everything you need to know about Denver.
All right, let's check it out, guys. What's up, guys? I'm Eli Schmidt. This is my partner, Will Grimes. Even though we're on opposite sides today, don't get it confused.
I don't know if I like it yet.
I know. Well, it takes some getting used to. They'll see the side of my face now. If it's your first time checking out this channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button along with the notification bell because we're dropping content all week long and you don't want to miss a single one.
100%. And we are licensed brokers here in the state of Colorado, which means just as much as we love making these videos, we would love more to help you with those real estate needs. So that number that's popping up below, we are the guys who answer the phone calls, text messages, and those emails. So if we can help you, we would love to do so. But with that being said, let's dive into it. We'll be covering just Denver Explained. Everything you need to know from our perspective, especially moving forward for 2022.
That's right, guys. So these are going to be coming from the angles of a lot of the locals' knowledge, right? And what it actually means when you say you're living in Denver and everything that goes into that. One of the first things that we wanted to dive into was Denver and the metro cities and what people mean when they say they live in Denver. Now, when I say I live in Denver, keep in mind I'm 45 minutes outside of Denver, but I still tell people I'm from Denver.
It's your main point of reference, and a lot of people like dive into. So one thing that you must, definitely like that you might not know, that you do want to know as far as like when it comes to Denver is not everybody lives in the heart of Denver, and downtown Denver's not very live friendly, and that could be a strong statement. You just don't have a lot of people living in the heart of downtown Denver like you would a Chicago or some other places. Maybe not even as much as like a downtown San Diego, believe it or not. Like there is places that you can live down there. It's just not known for that. You don't have a ton of it.
Yeah, and you do typically see more professionals. Like I would imagine like in Chicago or someplace is a good example. You may see, big families and stuff that live in downtown Chicago, and maybe you have a big 5-bedroom condo. In downtown Denver, you don't really have that much. So when people say they're living in Denver, a lot of times what they can mean is really the 45-minute radius around Denver, which includes all the majority of our major metro cities.
And we've got a lot of cool neighborhoods that are a little bit more in the heart, like the Highlands and Sunnyside, and a couple different things. Wash Park that we'll talk about here a little bit further in the video, but definitely number one. Number two, weather. Let's just explain that. We'll probably show some of this today as well because we are inside today because even though it's almost June, we have a full-on snowstorm here in Colorado.
Yeah, we do.
It is a little late, even for like natives like myself that have been here for a long time. It is a little bit late in the year as far as having this type of snow coming to Colorado, but as far as March and April, even parts of May have snow, super wet snow. I think, man, even like April had like 6 snowstorms in it.
A lot.
It was a lot, and a lot of people are like taken back by that. That's to be expected. You get that a lot here. So when people talk about how bipolar or how shifting the weather is in Colorado and, oh yeah, hey, we're from here and it's like that too. No, probably not. Like it probably is a little bit different here, something to consider. Yes, it's a little late coming into almost June, but to be expected.
Well, and another point to the weather is I feel like Colorado, in general, I feel like our winter actually starts really late. Halloween,
Halloween is like
October 31st is typically, if it snows on Halloween or after, it's like on time or late. You know, if it's after Halloween, it's a late snowstorm. If it's before, it's considered early. However, we may have a little bit of snow right around Halloween, and then you might not have one until January. I know this year, we had maybe 2 between October and January, and we didn't get anything. It was dry out here during Christmas and warm.
Correct, and just as a reminder, per context of this video, we're talking about Denver and like the surrounding areas. When it comes to like the mountains, when you go into to like A Basin or Aspen or Steamboat, you're gonna go ski and everything else, and you're up at altitude. Yes, you do get a lot. You get a ton of snow, and you get it a lot earlier in the year. We're talking about down here in the heart in the city of Denver and how late sometimes it comes.
So going on with that like late winter, it's not unusual that November and December, kind of all winter long, it's not uncommon to just wear a t-shirt and jeans and a light jacket and
Crocs.
Crocs. What? You don't know anything about Crocs.
Crocker, right here.
I am a
Crocker. He's a Crocker.
But you're no lady. Oh, so comfy.
All right, guys, moving right along, we're going to be diving into like some specific areas just so you guys have some segregation of which one is what and some cost of living just to give you guys a little bit more context on what these areas look like and what they cost.
Let's start north and kind of work our way down, okay? Because again, we want to take our time on this video and really help you guys just understand kind of the different segments that there are when we mention Denver, right? Because that's a 45-minute radius, all the metro cities. So I would say starting with the northwest side, right? We'll call it 10, 11 o'clock per Will's clock analogy here.
It's hard for him when I'm quiet and I'm actually like listening to him.
I know, I was on a Zoom call today.
He's like searching for knowledge, so he has to like use one of my references just to be relatable and understand like he also needs my approval on this video.
I was on a Zoom call today. Shout out to Anna and Jeff. They're moving here from Wisconsin. And
what's up, guys?
Yeah, and I mentioned Castle Rock, and the guy sarcastically goes,
not sarcastically,
he goes, hey, where would that be using Will's clock reference? I was like, I don't want to hear about the clock.
It's so funny because like someone will say that like it's sarcastic, but then it's also extremely usable.
South. Yeah, I told him south. Yeah.
It's like someone saying, oh, what are you going to use your calculator for math?
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, I'm going to do that.
So moving along,
What's
guys.
What's this guy's name?
Jeff. Nice guy.
You better be a nice guy, buddy. I'm coming for you.
He is. He's Team Will, bro. He's Team Will all day. I was like, I didn't want to hear any of that clock analogy stuff. Going forward, guys, we're going to be northwest, okay? Now, this is going to be Boulder, and then I want to talk about this little stretch between Denver and Boulder where you have Highway 36 that's going to connect North Denver all the way to Boulder, but in between here, you've got Superior, Lafayette, and Louisville. Those are those suburban areas, very nice homes, a lot of newer homes where you're 20 minutes outside of Boulder. So for a lot of people that want to live in Boulder but don't want to pay Boulder prices, these are going to be really good spots for you here.
Or maybe you don't even want to live in Boulder, right? Because like you're either in like the heart of Boulder, which is a college town, or you're back behind it in the mountains, or in Nederland, which is a little bit further back, and you don't necessarily want to be extremely remote. You do want a better commute to Denver, but you want to be in that school district, or you at least want to be within like a 15 or 20 minute commute to Boulder if you'd like to be. So it's not even about whether you want to afford it or not, or if you're choosing to afford it. It's also just your day-to-day decisions on where you have to be, how long you want to take to get there, and the style of living that you like. And these cities that he's talking about offer those really good school districts, along with just your traditional, really good, usable suburban neighborhoods that have good commutes to grocery stores. Not that Boulder doesn't have some of that, but again, it's an old college town. You've got some things there, and you've got like the mountains. So a little bit different when it comes to style of living in Boulder. It's a little bit more old and traditional versus some of the usability of these suburban neighborhoods. So again, like affordability or not, it's how do you want your day and the livability to be structured for you?
And then moving down south, let's go to Denver. So you've got your downtown Denver, which you talked about. So going outside of that, Denver is broken up into many, many, many little neighborhoods. Usually they're built around some sort of park, okay? And the neighborhood's gonna be named after the park. But the interesting thing I want you guys to know on this is that Denver is not one of those places where there's clear, distinct lines from, let's use a Hale to a Mayfair. Those are two different neighborhoods that are in Denver. You're not crossing over one street and you're like, oh, we're in Mayfair now. Oh, we're in Hale. It's not like that.
Like I feel like you better take your butt across 8 Mile. Is that like an Eminem movie, like 8 Mile?
I'm gonna turn around with a great smile and walk my white back across 8 Mile.
There's no 8 Mile here. No one's gonna tell you to take your butt across the railroad tracks, whatever it may be. A lot of things bleed into each other, and especially as far as like this, I mean, just forward-moving Denver is, there's a lot of improvement. So even when it comes to like the Commerce City areas and the older downtown areas, there's a lot of like buildings that are getting remodeled, redone. It's really hard to tell what's what, but it's all got a great feel to it.
It is, and I like mentioning that because we don't like our clients getting too pigeonholed on, oh, I have to be in this area, because you can go 2 blocks outside of that area, still have all the amenities of that area, all the great potential resale value of that area, but yeah, you're not technically like right in Wash Park.
You've got a lot of wealth out here, but you've also got a lot of just like really cool people, and a lot of your money per se in Colorado is not necessarily chalked up like you might think. There is no keeping up with the Joneses out here as much as you might think compared to some other places. So as far as like living in the Highlands versus living in Sunnyside, no one cares.
Both are great.
They're awesome. Yeah. Matter of fact, I might be more interested that you're moving to Sunnyside because that's the next one that's up and coming, and it has nothing to do with like, oh, you didn't make it to the Highlands, huh?
Yeah.
Did you not know? Does she not know?
Either way, I think you guys are understanding that. But as far as like just personalities out here and what people are in for and how people treat you and their moods, whatever it may be, however you want to chalk it up, there's just not a lot of that. And it wouldn't matter anyway because Sunnyside is pretty cool.
It is. Now let's go and work our way down south a little more. On the west side, you're gonna have Lakewood, and then you're gonna have Littleton that sits just below that. Those two are gonna be pretty similar. Lakewood is gonna be a little bit more city feel. You're closer to Denver. You're kind of right off a highway. Although Lakewood does go all the way out west into the foothills. So as you are going progressively out west, your homes are getting progressively newer. Lots are getting progressively bigger. Still not giant. Also progressing in price. Keep in mind that our front range, as the closer you get to the west side, the closer you get to the mountains, that's the equivalent of like our waterfront property or beachfront property out here price-wise. So the further west you go, the more expensive homes are gonna get.
Correct. A little bit, except for the fact that like mountains are like 30 trillion feet tall. So when you're in like Florida, California, Texas, wherever you're at, oceanfront's super important because you can kind of only see it from those first, like that first block, maybe a couple blocks, or if you're in like a high-rise building, you can see a lot better. Here in Colorado, you can be as far as southeast Aurora and further, and because the mountains are so extremely big. Like we were just out in Monument yesterday for a client. We were driving back coming through, which is, so Monument's a location north of like Colorado Springs, south of Parker and Franktown, and we were on Highway 83 coming back through, and the green valleys that you have through there, mixed with the actual mountain views of the Rocky Mountains and the sunset. I don't want to call it romantic. With someone else, like my significant other, not Eli.
I felt my heart pounding.
It would have been super romantic, but just a really cool drive at a perfect time. But just trying to super express to you guys that you know, whether it feels like you're more like you're on top of the mountain, inside of a mountain, or you're looking out through and into the mountains. A lot of really cool different things depending on where you choose to live, but a lot of mountain views in a lot of different areas.
Okay, now we got 3 more areas. We're gonna break it down to kind of bang through it. We're gonna hit south of Lakewood. We've got Littleton, Highlands Ranch, Lone Tree. Okay, those are all very popular areas. You're on the southwest side of Denver. Amazing school districts. Littleton has like the number 2 or 3 school district, but then Highlands Ranch will have Douglas County, which is like the number 3 or 4 school district, based on where they're battling with Cherry Creek.
And just to mention some of those areas like Highlands Ranch, you've probably heard of that one if you've heard of any of the suburban areas, especially in that region. Really good. They've got a lot of large homes. They've got great landscape. Those homes were built prior to the Southeast Auroras and the Castle Rocks and the Parkers. Keep that in mind because they've got a lot of great lots over there, a lot of great landscape, a lot of great views, but they are outdated. So even if you're buying a bigger home, not all of them have been remodeled per se, versus like some of these newer areas that we're going to be talking about. One of the benefits there is, I don't know if it's a benefit, but just different. The homes are newer. It could mean that they're on a smaller lot, but they're also brand new, which means they're updated exactly how you'd like. There's some pros and cons there, but Highlands Ranch, super cool spot just off of 470, but a lot of it's outdated, something that you might have to make improvements on. Food for thought, unless you're in back country, which is just behind most of your neighborhoods in Highlands Ranch. I'm getting long-winded. I just want you guys to know the type of homes that are out there. They're really cool. They're really big. A lot of awesome things about it that you just can't change, but some things that you can change that you might want to change about the home is like restructuring it, maybe moving a wall or upper level laundry, or just remodeling it and having that kitchen look new and crisp.
And by outdated, he's not talking 1930s and 50s. That's Denver. He's talking 90s and early 2000s.
Correct.
All right, now jumping straight out east to southeast Aurora. This is, again, one of our favorite areas. This is Cherry Creek School District, and there's 2 zip codes in particular. So if you're getting on Google looking these up, it's going to be 80016 and 80015. These are our 2 favorite zip codes in that southeast Aurora area where you're going to have those new homes, those great communities like we've done a ton of videos on. South Shore, Blackstone, Talons Reach. Those are amazing places.
Blackstone's awesome. You've got the full-on country club out there. They've got the restaurant. They've got the bar. It's a real country club. They've got events every month for folks that are part of that Blackstone community. Southeast Road's a little bit more flat compared to like your Castle Rocks and some other areas, but you've got amazing views of the mountains because even though it's a little bit more flat, you are up a little bit higher than most areas. So you've got that. You've got Southlands Mall, which is like an outdoor mall, which is super cool. Your shopability out there, the organic King Supers that's there. They've got the brand new Cherokee Trail High School that's out there, and you've got some other schools that are building up as well. South Shore, just across from Blackstone, is almost like a lake house feel.
Vibe, yeah.
A lot of really cool stuff. You're out there by the Aurora Reservoir. Super cool stuff about that. They've got a swim area and like a beach area if you guys want. They've got paddle boats and some different things that you guys can do. But as far as like lifestyle out there, whether it's shopping, outdoor experience, active lifestyle of mountain biking or running trails or going to the water, and then having your home kind of feel like that as such, doing the country club and the golf thing. Really cool. And full disclosure, from what we've seen, a lot of folks move into Blackstone. No, they're not super old and they just want to golf every day. They're actually super active and they've got families and they utilize the actual club more than they do golf.
All right, now working our way down south, we've got 2 cities down here. We're gonna hit Parker and Castle Rock. Throw one more in there, we'll make it 3, Castle Pines. Ooh, food's here.
Second.
Many tic-tacs later.
Now, not to gloss over Parker, but I'll gloss over a little bit. Parker is very similar to a Southeast Aurora, just on your way down to Castle Rock, minus all the cool shopping.
I feel like Parker is almost a blend between like Old Town Castle Rock, because you've got like Main Street in Parker, which kind of like feels like that Old Town, but then it's got some other stuff like it wants to be Southeast Aurora. It's right in the middle. Really cool stuff though, but you're right off of Highway 83, which is Parker Road, so the commute in and out is awesome. You've got Pradera, which is a country club and a golf course out there, which is phenomenal.
Yeah, good
You've got a lot of cool shopping.
Pinery down there for sure. If you're in Parker and you're looking for a very Colorado feel neighborhood, pine trees, deer, all that stuff, the Pinery is the place.
And you've also got traditional suburbans out there that kind of feel like everywhere else. So whether it's like your pine tree, Colorado landscape style, or traditional suburban areas and views of mountains, you've kind of got both through Parker.
Yeah. Now working down to Castle Rock and Castle Pines, I'm biased. I love it here. I've loved it here for a really long time. You've got Castle Pines, which is like the little cousin to Castle Rock, and they do touch one another. Castle Pines is really no shopping or dining there. You're going to Castle Rock for all your amenities, but they're neighbors.
It's gorgeous. You kind of feel like you're in the mountains. You've got a lot of landscape. You've got a couple gated communities out there, which are super cool. Pine trees. Everything is amazing. And yes, even though you're going to be commuting for most of your shopping, you're not too far from Castle Rock. You're also not too far from Lone Tree, which is what we were talking about, which is resting up against Highlands Ranch. Just on the west side of the highway, you're pretty much I-25 and Lincoln for Lone Tree. So you've got some shopping there. You've got hospitals there. Amazing facilities, not too far from Denver Tech Center. Again, not too far from Castle Rock. So even though there's not a lot of self-sufficient shopping in Castle Pines, you're just not too far at all. And again, like, just reminding, like just like the downtown feel, there's no hard lines between Castle Rock and Castle Pines, and like you feel like when you hit the transition, if you're living in Castle Pines, you don't really realize you're coming down the hill to shop in Castle Rock. Like there's no segregation there. It all flows pretty well.
Now, Castle Rock, let's talk about this for a second, because this is one of those cities that is, to me, I think has, as far as one of the best bang for your buck cities in Colorado, all encompassing by far. I think Castle Rock takes the cake. But a lot of the people that we talk to, you know, they just haven't heard of Castle Rock, or they're like, yeah, I've heard of it, but I feel like it's too far. And I cannot tell you enough.
32 minutes from downtown Denver.
It is. You're right on the highway, guys. So you jump on I-25, you go straight north, and you're at DTC in 20 minutes. Correct. Another 15, you're in downtown.
If you're looking at it on a map, like we're probably showing you right now, if you're looking at like that distance, it looks like there could be a large community. If you're coming from a high traffic area like a Philadelphia or Southern California or Chicago, you're looking at that distance and you're thinking like, man, like this is a lot of driving. Because our traffic is still extremely moderate here, it's not, right? Like the infrastructure and the commutes here, and the fact that you have several different ways of getting to most of your Denver metropolitan areas, you don't have highways that get overloaded. So I drive from downtown Denver, where our office is right now, to Castle Rock, where I live now, and it is 32 to 34 minutes.
Castle Rock. It is the perfect blend of their old downtown strip that they have there. If you're looking at Perry Street and Wilcox Street, you've got all the old historic buildings there.
Yeah, you've got the Capitol building there, the legal judicial building there. You've got
the old bank, old post office.
You've got modern apartments and condos there. You've got some really good mom and pop restaurants, whether it's breakfast, Hispanic food, you name it, they've got it. They've got candy stores. They've got that place that has like the 60 different boutiques inside of it. You have parades that come through that street, Wilcox, during the holidays. You've got fireworks that they do. As far as like an active, old school downtown strip kind of feel, it is amazing.
With a lot of the new amenities, like new restaurants and stuff. And then you've got the new area. You've got Whole Foods, you've got the outlet malls, you've got a bunch of other stores that are always coming in, and restaurants that are coming in. So I think it's a perfect blend of the old school nostalgic downtown vibe with the new school, everything you could possibly need.
And you can live up on the hills and on and in the rocks, or you could also be just across the highway on the west side and have amazing views of Pikes Peak and everything else, but still be in a traditional suburban area. Across on that west side is also like your bigger strip mall and your outlets. So if you guys are looking at a map, again, you've got those outlets that you can see on the west side of the highway, and then just on the east side and a little bit further south, you've got old school downtown Castle Rock. So the flow and the segregation of both is amazing, because a lot of folks just have to go shopping and get groceries or get to the outlets. And because Old Town Castle Rock is separate from that, you don't have anybody you don't have a lot of people trying to go to one central location to do everything. If people would just want to go for walks and grab some brunch, they're in downtown Castle Rock. If you're doing your shopping and you're going to Costco, you're on the other side, and it just allows everything to not be overflowed or too central, which is awesome, especially now that I'm living here. We've gone to brunch on Saturdays. And places like Tribe, amazing food. It hasn't been crowded, even on a Saturday morning. I think for Easter it was crowded one day. Outside of that, it doesn't get too crowded, and I do think it's because of how they've segregated everything. Great job. I go down there every day. Have not been bothered by too many people being down there.
That's right. Now, one last point before we wrap this up with the summary. I want to talk cost of living, because you're probably wondering how the home prices vary in all these different areas. Here's the thing, for the majority of the areas that we mentioned, maybe Boulder aside, you're gonna find very, very similar home price points, but what you get for that price point is different. So for example, 850 in Southeast Aurora, nice home, 2-3 years, plenty of updates, decent sized lot, versus that same amount in Highlands Ranch. Yeah, it might be built in 2004, 2005, maybe need a little bit of updating or something like that, but very similar price points.
Depending on the neighborhood, you might have a slightly bigger lot.
True. Yeah, more mature trees and things like that. In all these areas that we mentioned, I feel like entry level for something decent that doesn't need a whole ton of work is gonna be around that 600 mark. And then in all these areas, it goes up to the multiple millions.
Guys, you can find $3-4 million homes in Castle Rock. You can find $3-4 million homes in Southeast Aurora. You guys could be out in the heart of Denver and like some of those Four Season condos, like you can spend just as much there as well. Highlands, Sunnyside, you've got more like the old school brick homes. Traditional lot and block, square lots, lot and block streets, but you're closer proximity to Denver. So yes, your lot could be a little bit smaller. Your home's gonna be a little bit smaller. You might not have a 2-story home, but you're closer to Denver. If you are getting into like a 2-story home or a bigger one, a lot of those are scrapes and they're brand new, or they're within a couple of years. That's when you start getting 1.5 and up, but you're so much closer to Denver. So if that's the feel that you want, the value out there of spending that much money, but the lot is smaller is because of your proximity to Denver, versus if you're out here toward the mountains or toward some of the scenic views, you could be spending just as much, but you have a huge lot. You might even have a full acre, sometimes 2 acres, a lot of privacy, a lot of great views, a lot of different things you can build on those acres because HOAs are a little bit less strict. So depending on what you're looking for, depending on what your livability is and what your career looks like, what your family looks like, a lot of different things as far as like turning those stones. But I would say if you like the downtown feel, man, the sunny sides, the Highlands, those are super hard to beat. But you've also got Wash Park, University Park that aren't too far, that are amazing. That's close to like Cherry Creek North. We didn't mention that one. It's not as populated. It's just outside of downtown Denver. Amazing. You've got some areas in Greenwood Village that are by Denver Tech Center. We didn't mention that one. That's like your professional industrial area. Well, not industrial, but professional area, like your white collar area per se. Great homes, a little bit older as well. Cherry Creek High School, all good. All of these areas are super hard to beat, very similar as far as entry price points and max price points. It's just a contrast of what you're looking for your neighborhood or for your proximity where you want to live.
So we know this was a longer video, but we really wanted to do kind of an in-depth but broad overview of all the different areas because again, this channel is called Living in Denver, but you guys know we cover the entire Denver metro area. That's how it is when you live here too. So hopefully you guys found value in this video.
And if someone says, oh, you're not from Denver, you're from Aurora. If you're from Colorado, then they don't know what they're talking about, right? But most importantly, be prepared for that weather. It gets a little, we'll call it undecided. I don't like calling Colorado bipolar. I think that's a negative connotation.
Well-rounded.
Just well-rounded, undecided. But yes, with that being said, we also get more sunny days in most or all states year-round. So even when it is winter, you guys are getting plenty of sun. Again, a lot of this video is going to speak to you. A lot of it might not speak to you. More specifically is your needs, your wants, your situation specific to you is where we really do a great job at helping you with that. And yes, just as a reminder, we are licensed brokers here in the state of Colorado, and just as much as we love making these videos, we would love more to help you guys with those real estate needs. So that number that's popping back up below, we are the guys who answer the phone calls, text messages, and those emails. So if we can help you with those specific needs or any questions that you guys might have after this video, we would love to, but stay warm wherever you're at, especially if you're in Colorado. We will see you guys very soon.
See you guys.